The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
TV party tonight! What? TV party tonight!
Oh, we got nothing better to do than watch TV and have a couple of brews.
Don't want to talk about anything else.
We don't want to know.
We're dedicated
To our favorite shows.
Oh, my circuits!
Everybody loves Hypnotoad.
Scary dog!
Pearson and Blurnsball.
Futurama!
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening and welcome to TV Party Tonight. I am your host, Alexis Hejna. All right, gentlemen, do I have your attention?
Yes, chef. What? Do you say anything?
Andrew got the memo. We're going to be discussing The Bear, Season 4. All right, joining me tonight. Now, we have discussed the last 3 seasons of The Bear, but these two gentlemen were not with us. So joining us for the first time to discuss this particular show, Mr. David Wright.
I'll give the traditional Chicago greeting. Fuck you, and you fuck you.
Oh, look, the viewership just dropped. And also joining from Canada, Mr. Andrew Graham.
Thank you very much. Sorry, guys. I just got to do one thing. Okay, fire the Wagyu, walking the cannoli on 2 hands, please and thank you, chefs. Every second counts.
Well, now I just want Wagyu. All right, so yes, The Bear, created by Christopher Storer. This is the 4th season. This show has been doing so well. Most recently nominated for multiple primetime Emmys. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Yep. I try to add you to the stage and you just hit the same button. Mark, can you hear us?
Yeah. I'm very tired.
I can tell. I was just about to talk about the Primetime Emmy Awards that The Bear's been nominated. Best lead actor, lead actress, supporting actress, directing, guest actor, guest actress, outstanding comedy series. How the hell is this a comedy?
It's funny.
Someone tell me.
It's not
It's
that
funny at times.
Yeah, it's funny at times.
So don't they like combine a lot of awards where it's like best musical and or comedy and or documentary and
Golden
or
Globes.
wedding? Yeah.
Hang on a second. There we go. Where you belong, Mr. Radulich.
I'm not even looking.
But no, seriously, yeah, the Golden Globes, you combine comedy with musicals, and even then, multiple times, like when The Substance was up for Best Comedy and Demi Moore was up for Best Actress in a Comedy. Mark, I remember you and Robert and I just going, in what universe is The Substance a comedy? It's a horror movie.
It's the everything we don't take seriously award.
Unfortunately. But still, this show is amazing. Like I said, we've been reviewing it for all the seasons. Mark and I have been on since the beginning. Andrew, David, I want you to go ahead and tell me. Andrew, you tell me first. What inspired you to want to join us on tonight's show?
Well, I kind of was a latecomer to The Bear. I think I only started watching after season 3 came out. Initially tried watching it a little bit with Alicia, my wife. She didn't dig it as much. I decided to give it a second go. Kind of has some appeal to me from kind of the obviously the food, but also the kitchen culture side of things. I think on an earlier episode, you guys kind of talked about, your approaches to food and things like that. I kind of came to my appreciation for dining through a slightly different path, and that is actually Anthony Bourdain. So originally came to him as a travel writer originally, and when he was doing like No Reservations and stuff like that. And then as he got on to more Parts Unknown stuff, he started diving more into, the fine dining world, which is his roots. And if you've ever gone back and read Kitchen Confidential, which shows up in this season, then you kind of know that he talks a lot about kitchen culture, kitchen the whole culture of food, culture of kitchens, chefs, cooks, everything like that. And just kind of was something that coming into this, I thought would really appeal to me. But like a truly great meal, you didn't know you wanted it until you actually had it. And you didn't know you needed it in your life until you actually had it. I absolutely adore this show.
All right, David, what about you?
This is just, as usual, started off just listening to the podcast, and then I saw it was up on streaming, so I thought, we'll give it a try. It's not a crime procedural, so that was a win. Not that I hate crime procedurals, I don't. It's just we're not that big on them now. So yeah, so that kind of became our sort of evening TV watching. So my daughter has now been exposed to every single variant of the F word multiple times.
Parenting.
Yeah. That being said, according to her, like the music selection in the show is absolutely fantastic because we've caught her bopping a few times to the tunes, and any relief is good relief. So yeah, we just kind of marathoned it and got all the way caught up.
All right. Well, where we left off at the end of season 3, we saw that The Bear had gotten its review in the Chicago Tribune, but we were left with a cliffhanger on what it said. We find out in the first episode of season 4, basically it said it was, yeah. Said the food was good, but the restaurant itself was very chaotic, which, yeah, I think is the Bear in a nutshell. This is a show that just emphasizes pure chaos.
Yeah, I want to see a show about the people who like put the soundproofing in between that kitchen and dining room, because like that stuff is like they got to be like rolling in money. It's like they must use it on submarines for like stealth.
That's actually a good point. I mean, the way they're all yelling at each other, you got to wonder, because this isn't a huge restaurant. It's not like one of those where, you go around the corner and down a small hall and there's the kitchen. It's just a flimsy little door. It's like, how do they not hear Richie screaming at Carmy and the multitude of the facts? Okay, I'm just going to say that I think we need like a chart with yarn to try to keep track of the facts. The FAKs. It's like I can't remember anymore who's related to this family.
The facts and the bears.
I gave up on that. I need a chart or a tree or something.
Yeah. Although apparently we have a new theme, and that is who is the celebrity guest fact who's coming in? Because last season we got John Cena. This season we got Brie Larson. And probably one of my favorite moments, just her and Sugar just deciding that they were going to not make peace for the day and just go
have a go at it. Oh God, that was good.
That was terrific.
Yeah, it makes you wonder when you see someone listed in someone's phone as Francine bitch face butt fucker.
Actually, if we got to talk
environmental
about
storytelling at its finest, everyone.
The way Sugar reacted to Neil asking for Francine to be invited to the wedding, like we all know that Sugar's got a lot of patience. When she just hauled off on Neil like that, you knew this was serious.
I think my favorite Brie Larson moment was talking to the two brothers, and she's completely gaslighting them. Like she's coming from this point of view of like, you should never find love, be single and available and and easy for me to manipulate in her own way. But the way she's doing it, she's just like, no, you guys need to be on the same page. No, you guys get your head in the game. Come on. Your head's never in the game. And it's like, I have seen you, Brie Larson. I have been with you, Brie Larson. I have heard this before. I know your tricks.
So one of the big themes with this season is the idea of what do you do when the thing you love is no longer the thing you love. At the end of the last season, we had
TikToks. One. Sorry, keep going.
There is that. Well, at the end of the last season, we had our funeral episode, which was the closing down of the very successful, very, very niche restaurant. And Carmy's kind of come into a realization throughout the season that it's like he has always been a chef. He has always cooked. He has always done this. But is it really what he loves doing? Is he doing this for the right reasons. And that is pushed further when Uncle Cicero decides to lay down the ultimate plot point, the ticking clock. When that thing, it's literally the Wicked Witch of the West. It's like when the hourglass runs out, that's how long you've lived. And it's not long, dearie. It's not long. Mark, what did you think about the idea of adding this clock in as the plot point for the season?
I thought it worked in a couple of different ways. One, it gave a focal point. It gave a very real timeline, because the timeline in the Bear, it kind of goes all over the place. See, so here it's like when this runs out, so does the money, and that's it. We cease operations. So there's a literal ticking clock to give the story tension, but also kind of a focal point for the audience to go, will they beat the clock or not? So that artificial tension, I think, works for the show. But I think it also goes to Oliver Platt and Computer as characters being very pragmatic. It's not that we don't believe in your vision. It's this has to make money or we shut down. Which I think is a very valuable lesson, because there are people who have kind of an entitled sensibility who would think no, we should just continue to piss money down the drain.
They're called politicians.
That too. I think the other side of that is Carmy was really going around the bend in terms of I will spend all the money everywhere to try to make this the best restaurant ever. And everyone was telling him, please get this under control. We can get there without you buying exotic fruit from Jupiter and and enough flowers to sink the Titanic and whatever the fuck else he was doing. It was very much we are the grown-ups and we know what's best. And I think it pushed Carmy to evolve and age and mature in a way that he hadn't in the previous 3 seasons, to the point that we get to the conclusion of this season, which I cannot wait till we talk about, because I have words.
So we also have a couple other plot points going on. We have a big build up to a later episode that Richie's ex-wife, Tiff, I almost said TJ. I'm like, no, wait, that was the kid. Tiff is finally getting married to Josh Hartnett, of all people.
My God, that wedding episode rivaled The Deer Hunter.
That episode was awesome.
It was an hour long. It was an hour long.
It was more than an hour, Alexis. It was an hour and 10 to 20 minutes or some shit like that. I watched it over my lunch hour, and I was like, when will this end?
It was the anti-Feast of the Seven Fishes episode.
I loved it.
I kept waiting for Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken
I meant that as a good thing.
To play fucking Russian roulette in Vietnam.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the wedding episode. Andrew, would you like to start us off?
I wasn't prepared to go right into Bears. I wanted to talk about the main plot point first, but
go first. Give you a chance to get your thoughts together.
You know what? Maybe. Darn, what's the best way to do this? You know what? Screw it. We'll talk about Bears, then we'll get back to Carmy in a minute here.
You got it.
Because it kind of ties everything together as well. Yeah, Bears is a fantastic episode. I think listening back to some of the podcasts that you guys had done on the previous seasons, obviously I think one of my theses about this show, and I think, Mark, you framed it as trauma. I frame a lot of this show about family. Not only, there's kind of this really lazy, well, it is and it's not, but family's a running theme, whether you have kind of the kind of overly warmed kind of found family trope, or your actual family. So your family like Sid and her dad. That's a really healthy familial relationship in a lot of ways. And even a lot of ways the Bears are, because they have this big, large, extended family. I come from a big family. My wife comes from a big family. And I'll probably maybe just get to, 2 of my favorite moments out of that. One is the scene where John Mulaney and Claire are explaining to Josh Hartnett basically how to deal with the family. There are a lot of people who experience life very intensely and very loudly. And then him walking away, and it's like, yeah, he's fucked, right?
That scene made me, I would say that made me laugh too. I come from a really big family. Andre kind of does, but most of his family's back in Romania. So it was like the first time he met my family. My dad's 6 brothers and all of their kids, and they're, just like, yeah, it's like, brace yourself.
The whole experience of bringing in a new person into that larger family, especially if they don't come from a big family, is a lot of fun and slightly evil. But I get a kick out of it. I've seen more than a few people come from smaller families into my family, and it's kind of a bit of an experience for them. The other part of it that again goes to the theme of I didn't know I needed this. The entire cast and all of the guest stars sitting under the table talking to a 6-year-old about fear.
I was expecting a Time Lord to show up at some point.
Sorry?
So I was expecting a Time Lord to show up at some point, because that table was definitely bigger underneath than it was on the outside.
No kidding. It's like, I love this. Like, wow, how are they able to sit so comfortably underneath that table without at least 3 of them, buckling under and crouching? These are all very tall people. It's like they should not be able to all fit this comfortably under there.
I don't think Richie should be able to fit under there, but I mean, Carmy I get, because Jeremy Allen White's like not tall, so.
No, yeah, he makes up for that with the muscles in his chest. Yikes. You've seen the Iron Claw. You know what I'm talking about. That man is
I have not had a chance to watch that yet. Sorry. Random message from Comer. I didn't know if this is related to the podcast or not. But anyway, yeah, thoroughly enjoyed the episode. I think Dave, you nailed it. This is the anti-Seven Fishes in a lot of ways, where it was, not necessarily resolving, but at least moving in a healthier direction. I mean, even having Dee come there, talk to Sid for a long time, kind of move forward in terms of where that character's at and things along that line, and talking about, working on her own sobriety and things like that. And I did a reading on Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's actually been sober for over 30 years. So she kind of has a bit of that experience as part of it.
Jamie Lee Curtis was the guest actress nominated for the Emmy. She knocks that out of the park this season with just a few appearances, especially the scene where she and Carmy finally make peace. And that speech that she's got written down for him to talk to him about how she's trying so hard to do right for all the damage she did for so long because of her mental instability and her drug and drinking use. And it's passionate, especially if you know someone who unfortunately lost a lot of time due to one reason or the other, and they realize that's like they want to do better and they have to confront that pain.
Also, I gotta say, shock of the season, Dee Dee's a real estate agent. And apparently a relatively high-end one.
I was just waiting for someone to make a Halloween joke when Josh Hartnett said hi to Jamie Lee Curtis. Or am I the only one who remembers Halloween H2O?
Vaguely.
Not a horror guy. Sorry, you're in my blind spot.
All right, but yeah. The wedding episode, I would say, is one of the best. I love the selfie they take before they all get out from under the table. That was just such a cute moment.
I have some thoughts on the wedding, aside from how fucking long it is. The stuff with Suge and Brie Larson was some of my favorite stuff of the entire episode. That was a one-act play in and of itself. Like that, their animosity and resolution followed an entire arc, and when they one of the things I like about The Bear is how honestly it's written. Like I would not say it's overly dramatic. I would say it's compact. These feel like real people having real conversations in real time, but when I mean by compact is it's doing so in a way that you're watching it on television. So it's the kind of things that are like over the course of someone's life, but you're having to squish it down into, a 20 to 30 minute episode of television. But I have seen and I have been a part of, on both sides of that Brie Larson Suge conversation that they have over the course of the wedding. And I loved every bit of it. And I to be the sort of the Brie Larson apologist on this show, I know she caught a lot of shit from a lot of Marvel fans for the way she behaved during her run with the Avengers and all of that. It was nice to see. It was nice to get a reminder the woman can act.
Mm-hmm.
She's great. I genuinely enjoyed her here, and it's a reminder that just because you're in a Marvel movie or two that pissed off boys doesn't mean you can't act. She's really good. She was a welcome addition. And again, I laughed every time she got into it with the guys. The other thing I really liked was the idea of the two dads, Josh Hartnett and what's his face,
Richie.
Yeah. Like we both love these women. We both love this child. We're just in a different place. Things happen, but none of us have to be enemies. I think it's something that needs a reminder because people tend to forget that sort of thing. It's better to be helpful and friendly than it is to be to be the enemy. And it was nice. It was and again, at the end of the day, being that way only affects the kid badly, and you should not abuse or neglect children. So I like that. But I also liked how Josh Hartnett's like, I don't know how to be a stepdad. I'm trying. Like this is hard, and I'll end my point by saying I really did love the Josh Hartnett's going every time she comes back from you, all she talks about is you, and Richie going every time she comes to me, all she talks about is you, and they're both going, oh,
is that true?
I feel sheepish.
Fuck no.
I think
but it was a nice sentiment.
Yeah. It was he was being the bigger man in that situation.
One of the things I absolutely adore about this show is that I feel maybe there's a lot of characters who remind me of people in my life, but these all feel like very real people to me. Like there's not a villain, there's no one twirling a mustache, nothing like that. And like that's a really good example where it's like even when people have conflict, it's because they're trying to they're having conflict, even though they're actually still trying to go towards the same very positive, very healthy agenda. They're just not quite talking to each other in a way that gets them there.
Yeah. The only other thing, I have a lot to say about Sid, but I don't know what Alexis's agenda is, and I don't want to jump ahead or jump around.
I will just say this. When Sid tells Adam that she's not interested in his offer, the way he reacts, I remember watching and going, wow, Sid, you dodged a bullet.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, sorry, any employer who you turn down a job offer who says, well, you're making a mistake is not someone you want to work for.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with your decision, but I respect it. But then there's just like, you idiot. Yeah. It's the same thing. Like when you have like one person is into a person, but that other person's not into them, and then it's like, well, fuck you, you bitch, or whatever. Like, dude, you're not going to come out on top in this. This is just.
I agree with what you just said, David, 110%. Now, let me tell you about the Catholic Church. Just kidding.
I'm good. I just wish the Acolyte did.
Hang on. Let me get Dorian. I got him on speed dial.
But I want to raise one objection, one small objection. I did not get that. I didn't get the read that way. The read I got on his reaction was, why are you choosing to play second fiddle to Carmi in this really toxic environment when I'm giving you the brass ring? I'm practically handing it to you. And by the way, that got underscored in the conversation with the kid, which is, I love the episode, despite the fact that I'm going to complain a lot about Sid if we ever get to it. But when the kid said to her, look, man, just work wherever you want to work. Like you're making way too much of this. And that's, and at that point, she had decided to go to work at the new restaurant. And then, because there's a line about, there was a reason why I brought that up. There was a line about like, I'm never going to be able to fix the things I want to fix because it's not my restaurant. Like, I really can't make my mark on this. Like, we can call the word partner gets thrown around a lot these days. He can call me my partner all he wants, but this is ultimately Carmi's restaurant, and this is Carmi and Richie's legacy. This is their family thing. She's kind of the outsider. And so to me, for her character arc, it made more sense to go there, and it made more sense for him to be like, why wouldn't you take this job? What are you doing? Why do you continue? You know, you can be world champion here. Why are you staying there just to be the Intercontinental Champion? For all you wrestling fans.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and then like I agree with that. I like that interpretation. I think like just the tone of his delivery didn't really communicate that.
Yeah.
But like also when
I only disagree because I've been that level of disappointed with people.
Okay, yeah,
it's hard to keep it inside.
I gotcha. Yeah, but like for me, where what I was looking at with Sid is that the guy, he was just like falling over himself to get her to work at his restaurant, and it's just kind of like, we're thinking of doing this for the menu. Unless you don't like it, then we can change it, or we're going to decorate this way, or any way you like. It's just kind of like, do you have any vision for this restaurant, or do you just want to like pay me to build a restaurant for you?
He's pretty. He wanted to take home a pretty girl, and he was being overly accommodating.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah, but if I was like putting myself in the shoes of like a young chef, like she says, like Carmy has made like the best food she has ever tasted in her time, in cuisine. He has a vision for the bear. He's a mess, but she's, she has a chance to study under like this top level chef. It's a nightmare, but this is a place where she can cut her teeth, gain experience, and then, from there she could go and open up her own place, do it her own way with that knowledge. Like we've seen that, she's getting there. We're probably going to find out that her scallop dish will get like a Michelin star or something next season.
But, I hope so.
Yeah, but like I love the bit where they're like having the big fight in the in the back of the restaurant in the last episode, where he's like, oh yeah, like he called me, like I knew what you were up to, but it's okay. Like he's like, I turned to him, I was like, oh yeah, he's not that good anyway. It's like, what? He's just, oh yeah, I could totally smoke him. And then it's like, and you could smoke him too.
And I think
I did really like that moment. Sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
I was going to say, I gotta actually agree with Dave on some of this. I think part of this is also Sid was reading the writing on the wall with his restaurant, because he was talking about like, oh, we're going to have healthcare and we're going to have like this bespoke changing area and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, you're not even open yet, and you're working on like polishing the brass at this point. Like she's probably looking at that a little bit and saying, okay, this thing might open, but it might not stay open for that long. At least I know I have a set clock at the bear right now.
Yeah. I do, and I love the little dialogue she has with her cousin's daughter while making her the hamburger helper meal, and the way she compares it to sleepovers, and it's like the house that is kind of stinky, and the house where you can have all the pizza you want.
That kid had so much patience listening to her babble. It was like the look in that kid's eyes was like, I know you're trying, and I know you're trying to bring this down to my level, but I'm actually higher than you're giving me credit for. You dolt.
Like, you're making me food. I'm gonna smile and nod.
Yeah, it was like, I'm gonna keep blinking at you because I like you, and you're not. You're halfway decent, but oof, I get what you're saying. You're as subtle as a kick in the face.
It is still really cute how they bond, and at the end, when Sid leaves, TJ gives her this really big hug. She's clearly really warmed up to her. And it's a very touching scene. So,
all right. Since we're on Sid, let me bring this up now because if I say nothing else, the rest of this podcast will be mad I didn't bring this up. I really didn't like this season for that reason. This is my least favorite season of The Bear so far. I was really hoping like we would get more of Carmy and his evolution, and instead this was the Sid season. Now, look, I don't want to misrepresent myself. She's a part of the show. She's just as much a part of the show as Carmy. And if the intention is, my initial gut reaction was, oh, here we go again with this sort of thing. And I don't even want to say what this sort of thing is because I'll spend the rest of the podcast defending that position, and I don't even think that's what it is. I don't think the writers are going overboard with representation here or are trying to click a box. I really do think they saw her character as somebody who is evolving in her own way parallel to Carmy, and that this season they needed to focus on her. Except that I don't find her to be that interesting of a character. I think she was a domesticating influence on the bear as a character to focus on, and then hand the reins to, and and say this is the Luke Skywalker who will overtake the Obi-Wan Kenobi that is Carmi. I'm like, I could care less. Like, I actively struggled getting through this show because I don't think Sid's that interesting of a character, and so much of this season was focused on her. Like, the episode where she's hanging out with the kid and getting her hair done, I liked the episode. It had a rhythm to it. I enjoyed the way the mom and Sid talked to each other, but I also reviewed the Wu-Tang Clan show. So that naturally appeals to me. But, like, when we get to the season finale and she has that whole conversation with Carmi, I was much more interested in this back half of that episode when Richie walked out. And it became more about Mike's funeral than it was whether or not Carmi should stay in the restaurant. But also Carmi's whole conversation with her about, it's you, Sid. It's always been you. I'm like, ugh. Like, if I wasn't already exhausted, I would have thrown my iPad out the window. All right, now everyone can tell me I'm wrong. But I didn't like the season. I think Sid's a boring character.
Mark, you're wrong.
Thank you. That's why I'm here.
Go get him, Andrew.
Okay. I'll go first, and then maybe I'll throw to Dave. So I think I like Sid quite a bit. I think that's partially because I think she actually reminds me of members of my family who are in the younger cohort. She's probably one of the better written examples of what I think.
Hang on. I think that's the problem here is I fucking hate Gen Z.
Yeah,
I've come to realize this about myself.
The Gen Z or Gen Z kind of approach a lot. She reminds me of some Gen Zers I know.
I am Gen X bordering on like spiritual boomer, and I don't want them painted. Right,
but
Alexis?
I like her arc. Like, it's all of these challenges. Like, she's getting a lot of stuff thrown at her. Her dad has a heart attack. She's also trying to have, like, I remember that stage right after I moved out. There was that almost that degree of intentionally, even though they're well-intentioned, avoiding your parents because you want to try and set your boundaries and things like that. So, I mean, I get.
I'm 50 and I'm still doing that.
Worms, again, we've talked about a great episode, the interaction with both her cousin and her cousin's daughter. And a lot of that debate around where are we going in terms of, do I strike out on my own? Do I, again, stick with Carmi for all of the drama that he is? How do I move forward on this? I think one of my big, hell yeah moments was Carmi turning around and saying, that's a perfect scallop dish. Put that on the menu tonight. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think that's a degree of both growth on Carmi's part and growth on Sid's part. But, and again, maybe it is just that generational difference. But, I do like Sid quite a bit as a character. There was maybe a little too much of her in this season, but
every fucking episode practically.
A lot of the stuff I really did like as well. And I want to have a whole separate conversation about that last episode and that last conversation as well, because I think we got to talk about Carmi first. So I'll throw to Dave next.
Yeah. I actually, I don't really disagree with you that much, Mark.
Yay!
On that one. Like, I think to the degree that you dislike Sid is larger than my own, but yeah, like I wouldn't say that I was really into her story this season as much. I think first season was a lot stronger, where she was just this young kid in this hectic restaurant, sort of trying to prove herself, and like especially with her relationship with Tina. And then it just kind of she meandered around for more of second season. Then third season was more like, okay, now we have like a proper like chef mentor, her relationship, just with all the dysfunction of the bear.
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, like I even sort of going back to what I was saying before about the good restaurant being a bit too bending over backwards for her. It's also, she needs to be challenged at this point in her career.
Right.
She maybe she doesn't need like Chef David levels of assholery, but she needs someone to tell, like, no, this dish isn't ready. It needs more acidity. Like, you're doing good, but you're not there yet. And that's to sort of like kick her up to that level that she wants to be. Mm-hmm. But it's also like her just dealing with, is the price of the mental strain and emotional strain of working at the bear worth the experience she's getting? The father episode, I mean, it was nice, but it's just kind of like, you could be in any situation in life and have a family member have a heart attack and have to deal with that. Like, it doesn't really directly relate to restaurants. She could be, a character doing anything.
I have more affection for Robert Townsend than I do Sid, but that's an age thing.
Yeah.
In fact, I grew up with him as a comedian.
Yeah, I mean that's just the thing about me with stuff too. Is like if you're going to focus on like a particular job or industry in a film and make that part of the film, I kind of like it to stay about that as opposed to just drama anyone can deal with.
I just realized, actually, I think part of the reason why maybe Sid feels a little much in this is that this is the first season where we really focus on our main characters and we don't focus on the rest of the staff. Previous episodes, we had Marcus going to train with Luca. We had the episode with Tina's backstory, which, fun fact, that IODB, Sid's actress, or Sid's, the actress playing Sid, directed that, and she is up for an Emmy for directing that episode.
Great episode.
Oh yeah. So we've had that, and this is the first one where it was like, nope, unless it's about Sid or Carmi or Richie, it's not. That's it. That they were the main focus this season.
Yeah. I think Ibram got a bit of action.
Ibram got a lot of time actually.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun because he kind of, we saw him do the culinary school for a couple episodes. I think that was in season 2, and then he kind of just faded away. And now he's kind of getting a lot of this attention with. Was that Rob Reiner?
That was Rob Reiner, yes.
Yeah, who's the business advisor, and he's like, "Holy crap! You were one of the few guys who are actually consistently bringing in money at this restaurant right now." So talking about what's going on, it's like even in my notes, it's like, so are we going to see like Ibrahim drive off in a food truck by the end of the season?
Watch the bear go back to being a sandwich shop. That's how this show ends. It was always a sandwich shop, Carmi. It was always Chinatown.
The thing is, Mark, I don't think you're wrong. That could very well be the end of the show, as they just go back to running a slightly better sandwich shop.
Yes, one that isn't on violating health codes.
Yeah, and they'll hire Kevin Feige too. Or sorry, not Kevin Feige. John, Iron Man director.
John Favreau.
John Favreau. Sorry, I totally messed up.
I love Jeff. That's one of my favorite movies.
I need to go watch that movie.
You really should.
That was probably one thing I'll just comment on really quickly. There was a lot less. I mean, Dave, you'll appreciate this. Sorry?
There's a lot less food porn this season.
Yes, there's a lot less. I mean, I think the scenes I love the most are probably the service scenes.
Yeah.
Where it's not really necessarily about the food itself, but it's about how you get there. And again, that kind of goes to what I was talking about with Bourdain and stuff like that, where, you have a really kick-ass, service scene, and there's so much energy to it, and there's everything like that. It's like the dog fights in Battlestar Galactica, Dave, if we're going to use that analogy.
A nice detail from what you're talking about there is the bit where somebody gets a Chicago beef sandwich in the restaurant, and Carmen's like, "Give me the sandwich," and Richie's like, "No," and they're fighting over it, and then he's like, "Just please trust me," and so he makes the sandwich all nice on the plate, and Richie's like, "Oh, now I feel sheepish. I should trust you." It's a nice moment between the two of them.
Well, he just says, "Thank you, chef," and then he takes it out.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was actually behind him, who I'm convinced is the Michelin star reviewer, asked for the same thing.
Yes, has to be.
No, he didn't ask for the same thing. Reggie picked up that he wanted one.
Oh, yes, you're right. He did.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not supposed to do this, but I could get you one of those sandwiches if you like. It's like, I was hoping you'd ask me that.
We need to all stop trampling poor dear Alexis, who's trying her very best to host her own show.
I was just going to say, I think that was actually my favorite episode this season. That was the episode Scallop, because it had a moment that really teared me up. One of the things I've loved seeing the restaurants do in the show is the surprises. We saw this I think it was season 3. Was it season 3, Mark, when he was staging for Olivia Colman's restaurant?
I think it was 2. Yeah. The episode was called Forks, because it's my favorite episode.
So the one I thought you were going to go to was the more obvious one, is where he goes and gets a deep dish pizza.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we talked about the inspiration for that. There was a professional chef who found out that family in his restaurant, they were in New York, and they had not had a dirty water hot dog. So he actually sent someone out to go get a hot dog from a...
Hang on. You Midwesterner, you. It's just a dirty water dog. The hot is implied. Don't look at me like that. When you say taco, do you say Mexican taco? No, it's just a taco.
Sorry, Kansas City is not known for its hot dog stands, okay?
Dirty.
They do have some great barbecue, trust me.
Thank you, Dave.
He's been here. He can confirm.
Yes.
But yeah, and you find out that at the Bear, they try to do something similar, but they literally have a surprise budget and they can only spend so much money pulling this. And I love that they actually figure out how to do the fake snow for this customer who wanted to come out and see Chicago in the winter time. Oh my God. When they bring them out and they hand them the hot chocolate and said, hot chocolate, best enjoyed in the snow, and you turn and they got the fake snow blowing. I actually teared up a bit. It was such a sweet moment.
That's a really nice moment, but like even like it's a nice moment in the show. It's a nice beat, but also just as like a real life experience that no matter what you think of the food, you'll never forget something like that much care and time that was put into you as a customer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ronnie knows what's up. Yeah.
That episode also has one of my absolute laugh out loud moments, which is when the Fact brothers are there trying to get the snow set up, and they're absolutely just running into each other. And Richie's standing there with one of the guys from Ever, who, by the way, when those Ever staff show up early in the season, that is like the fucking portals opening in Endgame, where it's like the reinforcements just arrived.
May I go in a slightly, I don't know what's with my mic tonight. May I go in a slightly different direction?
Can I just finish my one moment real?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So no worries. So anyway, he's trying to explain. So the facts are laying into each other. They're both standing there watching, and Richie leans over to the other guy and says, "Believe it or not, we're doing pretty good right now."
So there's a bit in The Wire. I think it's
Bingo.
Yep. Season more on that Friday. Season 2, I believe it is, where the FBI shows up to go to the to where the details office is. And they all walk in, and then I think it's like Bunk, Lester, and somebody else turn around and see them, and they kind of all stand like they're about ready to shoot each other. And I think it's either Lester or Bunk who says like, "I'll shoot the one on the right," and then the FBI guy who's friends with McNulty's like, "You motherfuckers," and they all hug and kiss and start fucking in the detail with them. Anyway, doesn't matter. My point is, it was that moment for me.
Yeah. And any moment with them having the outsiders trying to have the Bears and the facts explained to them are great. Mm-hmm. Even the episode Sophie, where they're all having that conversation, and then I've literally had that conversation where you end up talking about somebody's family, and within 5 minutes you're holding someone's baby.
So I don't like to use the word shipping, but I was the bit where the woman who does the I can't remember what
I think it's Jessica.
Yeah.
The extended bit between Jessica and Richie.
I was
some chemistry.
Tell me I'm good. I would say there's like he's gonna ask her out. Well, holy shit, they're not pulling the trigger. Okay, I actually was expecting Luca to ask Sid out. And part of that's just because I love seeing Will Poulter on this show. I think he's a great actor, but that man has chemistry with everyone he interacts with on the show. I see him talking to Marcus, love it. I see him talking to Carmi, love it. I see him talking to Rich, love it. I see him talking to Sid. I assume these two are falling in love.
Every time I see Will Poulter, I feel bad about him being Adam Warlock. Yeah.
I thought he was good as Adam Warlock.
It was a shit character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, blame the writing, not the actor. Yeah. But yeah, I also saw that I think they're doing it with Marcus and Sid in the early seasons. But yeah,
I still think there's something there, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that goes. But I also agree that Reggie, Jessica, I think that's where they're kind of going with how he sort of rebounds relationship wise.
Why do you keep calling him Reggie?
Because it sounds close to Richie, and I can't remember. But please keep correcting me. It's okay.
I do love the scene though, like so when he's holding the baby and they're talking about Tiff's upcoming wedding, and literally it's like, no, I want to go. You have to go. Who's that? And everyone just simultaneously answers. Just again, good staging, really good blocking from the cinematography, great acting from everyone. Just spitting back and forth on this. That's a terrific scene of showing the power of the ensemble cast. Hang on, pulling up my notes here. Richie has actually become my favorite character on the show, though, because we have seen more growth out of him, I think, than anyone else. I would argue he's grown more than Carmi has.
Intentional growth. This is a guy who's purposely like working on himself, as opposed to Carmi, who's sort of evolving because he keeps being hit by meteors and volcanoes are going up around him. He's like, there's intentionally evolution and then there's forced evolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more thoughts on Carmi later, I guess. Or are we there yet?
I don't know. I'm not hosting this podcast, guys.
You want to talk about Carmi? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I can give 30 words on Richie really quick.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Richie, you can see he's putting in the work. He's reading. He's working on. He pulls out the oddest kind of management books and things like that. And
his best line in the entire season when he's talking to Oliver Platt, and he was talking about like how things are connected, and he's like, I think I'm sand.
Yes,
and
I love that.
And it was great. It was like what a level of insight, what growth, what he had kind of like a Zen Buddhist moment for me that I really appreciated in such a toxic character.
Yeah,
growth. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is I know I've done the philosopher's stroll in Kyoto. It's very nice, but my wife just turned to me and she's like, he knows it's islands and water, right?
No,
I think the whole character growth thing's like one of the big themes of this show. Like, I mean, Richie does it. Even when you go back to like earlier seasons with Sid, she's like reading Coach K books. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite mini arcs of this season was Tina versus Pasta. Mm-hmm. When she finally gets it under that 3 minutes, it's like, yes.
Yeah, Tina. Now, there's a character who's also seen massive growth. She was like, she was purposely sabotaging Sid in season 1. She did not like the change. She did not understand. I even love that. She started calling Carmi Jeff because at first she's like, "Why am I?" What's like, "Why are you calling him Chef?" The beef was so informal that she did not understand why you would call someone. It's like, "Yes, chef. Thank you, chef." She didn't get that. And she has grown so much.
Yeah, I think a lot of what happened in the first season was there was a bit of sort of classism in it. This sort of we're a blue collar Chicago restaurant. We don't need any of this fancy hoity-toity elitist gastro crap.
That's a surface level thing. It was Mike's restaurant.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mike died. It was when Mike died. It was a certain way. And they aim to keep it that way in the service of remembering Mike. If you change the restaurant, Mike really dies. That's the subtext of the entirety of season 1. Mm-hmm. And then they all kind of get over it. They get over the death of Mike. They are looking at a way to move on. That's why you say like this. You talk about trauma versus family. I will till the day I die. Like for me, this show is about processing trauma and grief through food, which is a weird, I didn't say it's a weird concept. People do that all the time. That's why you have food at wakes. But that's to me what the show is. Yeah.
But I do kind of see it like, with Tina, it was, when she screws up in the kitchen and she like burns the sauce and she goes to clean it up and she comes back and found that Sid just reset it for her. And she's like, why did you do that? And Sid just goes, I don't have time to fuck around. And that was kind of like the moment where the two of them sort of gained that respect between it. And with Richie, like it was when he does his stage at the fancy restaurant, where you see him at the start being very prickly about the whole thing.
Like, was it like why do I have to polish forks? It was like, because if you're good, you can get to polish knives.
Yeah, and again, it's just kind of like, what's with all this elitist crap kind of thing. And I think some of it too is just his defense mechanism of if things aren't working out, you lash out. But I think
it's also the interpretation of what a restaurant is. For some people, it's a job. For other people, it's a profession, and for others, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. But I think like what he realized is like when he started finding out just how much they put the customer first. When they talk about this person at this table, they're like a school teacher who's like saved up money for 5 years so they can come here. We're going to give them the best fucking night of their life.
Well, it's funny. People talk about like the service. A lot of times they're talking about like the military or something like that. But you could also talk about the cloth. There's different ways to serve. There's different ways to service people. And I swear to God, I'm not making a joke about that. And I think I think the guys working in that restaurant were like, we're in the service industry. We want to bring people joy. And that's what Richie buys into. That's a sort of philosophical idea of working in a restaurant is not about serving food. It's about bringing joy to people. And it gives him kind of a second lease on life, because when we meet him, he's so lost. And by the time we get to season 4, he is born again.
Yeah. Like I say, that is my favorite episode of the whole show. Just seeing Richie, whatever. It's okay. Make fun of me. I don't mind. There's so many names of characters to keep straight, guys. I don't have the wiki in front of me.
Fair enough.
And I mean, even going to the food and the philosophy of restaurant, like I remember there's an interview, again, bringing this back to Bourdain, that he did with Marco Pierre White, who was the guy that trained like Gordon Ramsay. And he was talking, and there's a guy who had multiple Michelin stars, and he was talking about what makes a good restaurant, and service is absolutely one of those things. Like I probably within the last couple of years have had 2 very similar meals. One of the major punctuation points was that difference in service. The food was still good in both locations, but the service in one element and what that added to the meal was just that much more. Yeah,
but I just like the episode again the Bears episode where he's like he has to deal with Josh Hartnett and supporting him, and like that whole arc was just really showed his growth. Like you see him on the phone when like Tiff tells him that she's getting married, and just like you could just see like the pain that he's not going to be able to get back together with her, and just like he's down, but he's powering through it. And then she asks him to like come to the wedding, and that's a tough thing to do.
Bigger man than I will not be at Melissa's next wedding. I can tell you that much.
I mean, I don't want to go there, but but then you get the bit like where he gets home from the wedding and he just like grabs a beer and he just slumps on the couch. You just kind of like feel like everything is just being released there. Nice and quiet. He's not not being dramatic or anything, but it's just you can just tell like that took an emotional toll on him to be that big of a man for that long. And like that was just really great stuff. I love how in this show, for as much as there's lots of yelling and screaming, so they're not afraid to just like let the actor's face do the talking. Yeah, and like I say, the guy that plays Carmen, I think he's like the winner. Like he has just such an expressive face. I think it's the big eyes.
Oh
like,
yeah,
he can just stare at the camera for like 5 minutes, and you're like, I know exactly what's going on with that guy at every moment.
Jeremy Allen White has puppy dog eyes. It's like I look at it's like I've seen those eyes before on Pound Puppy plushies.
He actually reminds me of I forget the actor's name, but he worked a lot with Mel Brooks. You remember Igor from I, Frankenstein, where he had like the condition where he just couldn't close his eyes.
Marty Feldman. Yeah.
Yes,
Feldman.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's who I keep thinking of whenever I see Carmi. It's just like his eyes are just always like so expressive.
Can I make one request though to the advertising guys at Hulu? Can we stop have him staring at us in every single poster for the bear?
Alexis, how much longer are we going to go? Because I may cut out in another 10 minutes.
Well, let's try to go for about another 10. Yeah, let's go ahead and go for another 10 minutes.
Okay, Carmi.
We got to talk Carmi.
Yes.
Carmi,
please.
speech, final episode, go.
No, okay. I got to go back before that.
Let me get this out, and then because if I got to leave, I can just head out. For the same reason I got annoyed with Batman and Catwoman in the wedding, can we not have any one of these I get Carmi sort of getting to a place of I was chasing this thing and I realized this isn't what was going to fill me up. This isn't what was going to bring me joy. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm good with him getting back with Claire. I'm good with him trying to, what's the word you use, participate. I'm good with him not killing himself to make the best restaurant at the end of the universe. Giving up the restaurant entirely and kind of anointing Sid annoyed the piss out of me. I don't feel like it's earned. I don't feel like she got there yet. And I'm kind of with Sid I have made all of these sacrifices. I wanted to be here. I wanted to be your partner. I wanted to work with you, and you're just leaving. And his explanation, such as it was, never sat well with me. And I had to watch it twice because I was like, part of it was I think I may have nodded off. So I was like, I think I missed something here. So I went back and I watched it again. And I'm like, nope, this is. I know what the writers are going for, but I don't think they stick the landing. That said, when Richie comes out and Richie's like, "Good, fuck him, we could use the money." I was like, that made me laugh. I was kind of with Richie there. Like, you don't want to be here, don't be here. That's kind of been my motto as of late. But by the same token, when he's like, when it stopped being about the restaurant and it started to become yet again about Mike's death, Mike's suicide, and he's like, I was at Mike's funeral, and that whole conversation takes this other turn, you know, and then then to put the final punctuation mark, when Suge comes out and she's like, he's leaving, and Suge's like, basically just gives him a hug, kind of recognizing that, yeah, you have been pursuing this thing that I don't think your heart was really in. You were, you know, Carmi came home, like, because the better conversation is the one with him and Jamie Lee Curtis, who deserves every award she ever gets. That, you know, that kind of feeling of like, you ran away from this family, you went to chase a comet, and now you're home, and now you're getting whole again, and then him realizing this maybe isn't really what I want to do. Like, that all works for me. But to leave the restaurant kind of in the lurch and like give it to Sid, I was like, ugh, this doesn't sit well with me at all. I don't think it's earned. And it was a frustrating ending to a season that I was already not into. Those are my thoughts, guys.
For me, I think what I see in Carmi is, it's not necessarily just about like wanting to be the best chef or a love of food. This is his way of escaping all the crap in his life.
Right.
Like, you know, like I go home for Christmas dinner and my mom drives a car through the living room. You know,
and my brother's forks at Dave Odenkirk. Or
I want to go and work for Jeff Brinkler and be called a fucking loser all day, and nothing's ever good enough. Like anything but having to think about my family and my life. Like and I think the big thing, like with the season 2, with like how Carmi just totally, like, you know, he gets a taste of love. And just, you know, with Claire and that sort of idea that, you know, I don't deserve this. I shouldn't be happy, but he is. And then he just totally, things just go off the rails when he gets locked in the fridge, and you know, that whole thing, and, you know, things fall apart with Claire. And then you see him, like, when he gets back to work, he's like, okay, like, we are going to compromise on nothing. We're going to have new menu every day. We're just going to like order nothing but the best ingredients. Like, it's not so much that he's pushing himself to be the best chef because he wants to be the best chef. It's that he's trying to run away from the pain of the breakup with Claire, and he's just like throwing himself into work to an insane degree. And it's just like him, you know, it's 0 or 10 with everything. He just can't get anywhere close to a 5 in how to deal with his issues. So when you see him in this season, he kind of like starts to get back together with Claire. I don't think they're like officially back together, but, you know, the healing process is occurring. And I think it's just kind of going like, I need to stop running into the restaurant to avoid my problems. I just actually need to deal with me without the restaurant. Just me, Carmi, myself, dealing with my own shit, getting myself together as a person.
That's a fair assessment, Dave. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's sort of my interpretation of things. But unfortunately, like, this is the Bear in Chicago, where like nobody can allow another person to finish a sentence or a thought at all, and everybody screams and yells at each other all the time. Like, the dialogue in the show is a mess, and I don't mean that as like it's messily written. It's very intentional, but it's just like, you know, these are messy conversations, and if the script actually writes all this stuff out, it is incredible. Like, I don't know how much this is just the actors getting like, this is what we want, kind of what the direction we want the scene to go in, just improv.
Yeah.
Like the entire script is written in columns.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's like Baz Luhrmann, where he does stuff chaotically, but he does stuff chaotically intentionally.
Yeah.
As opposed to try and save it in the edit.
Like listening to some of the dialogue on the show can get exhausting just because it's just so high tension, high energy. Just like, would someone just shut up and let someone finish what they're saying?
I'm not gonna lie. There are times I'm either on my phone or I'm skipping past stuff because I'm like, I don't need the. There's some stuff with the facts that I'm like, this is kind of cute or this is funny, and then there are other stuff where like a lot, like as funny as John Cena was, that there was a lot of repetition there, and I'm like, I'm done with this now.
Yeah. I kind of wish. Yeah. Can we cut down the fact banter a bit, guys? Like, I get it. It's out there, but like you got the bit where like, you know, computers like trying to tell, you know, Cecil about I'm terrible with character names. About like the franchising idea. He's like, no, I don't care. Get that bleep, and he's just like, he's bleeping his F-bombs out with the car horn, and just like, shut up and let the guy talk to you. He's like actually suggesting something really important for you, making money here. Like, just. like we need like Counselor Mark to just like come through the door in one of these scenes. Like, okay, I have this little egg, and I'm gonna give this egg to a person, and that person's gonna say everything, and no one is going to say anything. I've got Reggie's gun. I'm gonna pop a cap, and whoever dares utter a word until the egg has been transferred to them.
I have been known once or twice in couples therapy to be like, "You get to your mutual corners, for God's sake, stop interrupting each other."
So I'll jump in on this one. I think. We probably didn't spend as much time with Carmi this season, but man, some of the stuff they did was so good. And it was interesting because a lot of my notes was trying to figure out what prompted his change this season, whether it was seeing the end of Ever, which I think, when you look at his mentors, let's be really honest. All the mentors he had, whether it was Daniel Boulud, his real guy, or from Thomas Keller from the French Laundry, or Chef Andrea from Ever, all those people are tough, but they're all fair. And then he goes and he works for Asshole. We'll just refer to him as Asshole. And obviously that traumatized him, everything that happens in there. But there was something that you saw right off the bat, and I don't know if it was the conversation with Andrea at the end of Ever, or it was, the conversation with the Asshole, or the review, all of those things coming together to actually kind of what I thought was growth there. And the way I put in my notes is that Carmi's always close to the right answer, but like Dave, you nailed it right on the head. He's either 1 or 100 and never in between. I go to a line because I end up rewatching it, and fuck. The scene with him and Claire on the doorstep was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I have had that conversation. I've had that conversation about not being equipped to talk about things, and we lost Mark, and it is that scene hit hard, and it was really good. As you can see, because I'm losing my mind right now. But one of the things that I remember him saying in that scene, because I rewatched it, and it's like he did the thing in the fridge because it was easy, and it was the simple thing to do. And I kind of get the sense that his decision at the end of the season to walk away is the simple thing to do. Because the hard thing to do and the true growth thing to do is for him to continue to be at the Bear, try and evolve himself some more, trust his team. Because I think that was one of the conversations that somebody had to have with him at the end of season, or probably the start of season 3, to say that, hey, guess what? Yeah, you got locked in the fridge, but your team that you pulled together went out there and kicked ass that night, and that's a result of you. And I think it's a degree of Carmi always runs. And whether that's running to something or from something or both, that's a little bit of what he's looking at. And one thing that I'll say I'm glad on is that the way they obviously set this up is that Carmi said he's leaving. He hasn't left yet. Mm-hmm. So they still have time to figure out what's going to happen with the Bear going into season 5. And I think that's going to be a really interesting resolution as to where that character goes going forward.
Yeah, he did say that he would stay and fix this, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, not knowing how to fix it, but he would stay and fix this. So
yeah, and I mean,
he'll still be working at the Bear next season.
Yeah, and I think one of the things about the arc of this season that it did feel like the comeback, where it was Carmi growing. It was that visual of the line going red, 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 and then it starts going green within the last couple of episodes. So they're showing.
I still like the pie chart of fucked versus good.
Fucked versus good was really good. I like that one. So that and Nat threatening Computer at one point when he was talking about firing Marcus.
Yes.
Like, you coach Little League, but I will fucking kill you.
And that paid off because Marcus ends up, getting best upcoming chefs in Food and Wine magazine. Mm-hmm. Although Computer does say something, and if you've ever tried to run your own business or anything like that, they talk about Nat talks with Computer about what they can do to keep things running, even if the parachute the parachute is done. And Computer says, "But why should we? Why should this keep going?" And I think that's something that a lot of people have to really question, is that you can keep pooling money and energy and everything into something, be it a business, a relationship, or anything. And it's like, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? And am I doing it for the right reasons? Computer asked point blank, it's like, why do we need to keep this restaurant running? And that's a legit question. It's like, are we keeping this alive for Mikey's dream? Is this because it's what Carmi wants? Is it just we need to get over the hump and then we think things will get better? Why are we, just shoveling so much money into this?
Well, and even Cicero said, I think it was during Bears, he was talking with Sid, and it's like, why are the businesses that bring people the most joy have the worst margins?
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
And think about it. I mean, shit, we talk about it all the time. We talk about movies. We talk about food. We talk about movies. Those are things where sometimes the lines on that are not great.
Okay, who's got the seagull in the background?
Oh, that's probably me. Sorry, you got the
sorry,
the window open.
No, it's fine. Just all of a sudden, it's like I hear seagulls. Why do I hear seagulls?
Yeah. Well, at least it's too early for the kids to start street racing. So
fair enough. But honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know where we're gonna go with the next season for this. Mark and I put in our theories for season 4, and honestly, I was completely off with Sid. I thought she was going to take Shapiro's offer and go work for him, and then maybe partway through the season, she'd realize she made a mistake and go back to the Bear or something. But now I don't know where we're going to go with this. I don't know how they're going to financially salvage this, unless, yes, it is the Michelin star from the scallop dish that saves them. I don't know. And I'm intrigued. I look forward to watching it, but I have no theories on what we're going to get in season 5. Do you guys have any ideas, any thoughts, any theories?
Not too much. One criticism I would give of the Bears, like the season finales tend to be pretty weak. Like it kind of just feels like they just stop the show and then they'll just start it up next year. Like, there's no Carmi's been assimilated by the Borg ending or anything like that. Because that is a little bit of a frustrating aspect of the show. Because like you watch something like Game of Thrones, and there's like each season there is like an arc pretty much for each character. Like yes, there's the big overall story, but character finds himself in this situation, and how do they resolve this issue, and then back to the the next problem. Whereas this is just kind of like, okay, the clock ran out, so what? Like.
But I mean, so what's next? I think that's what the big part of it is. Mm-hmm. Although, you know what? I want season 5 to end with Carmi staring into the camera and saying, "Richie, fire the fish." Da da.
We definitely will be back when season 5 airs. Like I said, Mark and I have reviewed every season of the show. We absolutely love it. There is just so much to unpack, so much with the characters. It really is a great show, and I highly recommend it, especially if you're a foodie or you've worked in the
service industry.
Thank you. I was trying to say hospitality, but I almost said hostel, and I was just like, wait, no, that's wrong.
Very, very fine difference. Very fine difference between the two.
Yeah, it's like the hostile industry. No, not quite. That's the difference.
Well, I mean, after the show,
the hostile industry sometimes. Really, this show to me, weirdly enough, I think I came to the conclusion at the end of season 3. In a lot of ways, it's spiritually like Ted Lasso. It kind of has that everyone will get better. There's a hopeful edge to it, like for all the yelling and screaming and the fact of it all. It is about people who want to get better, who want to get on with their lives, and it is phenomenal. I absolutely love the show.
Definitely. Any other thoughts? Anything we forgot to talk about? Any points that you guys wanted to make before we go into plugs?
How messed up is Tiff's family?
That's a good point. Okay, I will admit, at the start of that episode, I was like, "Why are all the bears? Why are all the bears? Yeah, at this wedding, because I know Richie is not actually related by blood, but it's like, how did all this how did everyone there show up at this wedding? And then Tiff mentions like, no one from her family is there, so it's like, wow, you really prefer Richie's family? Are you insane?
But I mean, there's always been elements of that. Like, even when you look at, going back to season 3 and you go back to, when right after, Natalie has the baby and Donna's sitting there in the waiting room, and who shows up first? It's like the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for any flaws with Donna, and there are many, like, they kind of see her as, an adjutant mother. Because they all grew up together, and it's what you get in some of those neighborhoods.
Very true. All right. Anything else? Any other points?
No, I think we kind of covered everything I wanted to talk about.
All right, then let's go ahead and wrap things up and move on to plugs. As far as TV Party Tonight, we're going to be taking next week off, but we're going to be coming back, and I am not going to have any free time in August because we're going to have 3 straight weeks of shows. The 6th, Mark and I are going to be doing Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. This is the spiritual sequel to the Jeffrey Dahmer miniseries. So we're going to talk about this new wave before we get ready for the 3rd season to come out later this year that is focusing on Ed Gein.
I know enough about Ed Gein to know I don't want to watch that.
Fair enough. But but they're going to have someone playing Alfred Hitchcock coming in to talk about, to parallel what happened with Ed Gein and how that inspired the works of Psycho and the like. So that's really where my intrigue lies.
I'll be interested to see who they cast for that.
I think they already announced the cast.
Gary Oldman?
Okay.
No, Gary Oldman's actually playing me right now. I just don't know it.
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Hollander is playing Alfred Hitchcock, actually. That guy.
Okay. Yeah. Might work.
I could see it. A week after that, Jesse Starcher and I will be starting our Stranger Things retrospective. We're going to be talking about season 1. We're going to be doing 1 season a month leading up to the series finale that we're going to be talking about in January. Week after that, Mark will be back with me to talk about Resident Alien season 4 because the world needs more Alan Tudyk, damn it. And week after that, I don't have it on the schedule yet, but we are going to be looking at Twisted Metals season 2. That's myself, Jason Teasley, and a friend of the show, Mr. Josh Theno, who I bring in whenever I need help talking about video games because he is my go-to gamer expert. So it's going to be a very busy build up to autumn this year. All right, Andrew. Where can our viewers find you, and what do you got coming up?
I am currently trying to figure out what I have coming up. Apparently, I have West Wing Season 7 tomorrow night, but that does not seem right. And I know I've also got I'll have to double check that with Mark. I also know I've got a triple feature coming up on some of the collective works of Michael Mann. And then if you're looking to train with me at all and you're in the Calgary area, check out Esteem and Havoc Martial Arts. Also, check out my instructor's channel, Reality Check J, for some fantastic breakdowns of real self-defense situations.
All right. David, if the seagulls will let you talk.
Yeah. I try not to tell everyone where I am, but obviously wherever I am, there are seagulls. So
that narrows it down so much.
Yeah. It narrows it down a bit, but not enough, thankfully. For things coming up, I think Strange New Worlds has started in its next season, so I think Mark and I are going to talk about that when it wraps up. Possibly go do Wednesday if that ever gets scheduled.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I swear to God, I'm working on it.
It's okay. There's no rush. I have seen season 1, so I can at least talk about that.
Yeah, I just have to rewatch season 1 because it was so long ago. And I know that you and I talked about adding K-pop Demon Hunters as well, which I am looking forward to talking about. That was so much fun. I mostly just want to talk about how that has become such a massive hit in pop culture. It's like there's all these videos talking about why has Netflix won where Pixar has failed so badly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw one of those, and they said like, actually, I don't want to talk about this. It's just like whenever I just like post something like that's completely positive, the algorithm buries it. Like YouTube only promotes videos with negativity.
There is some honest truth to that. All right. Anything else, guys?
All good here.
That's all I have for now. Yep.
All right. So I wanted to make sure, David, you were done. I didn't want to cut you off and be, and I was like, wait, I had more to talk about.
No, I'm good.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. For myself, for Mr. Andrew Graham, for Mr. David Wright, and for Mr. I had to duck out too early because he was too damn tired, Mr. Mark Radulich. Thank you all for joining us. Be well, behave, and remember, every second counts.